Obsessive-compulsive disorder is an anxiety disorder that affects about 1% of the population. The symptoms of this disorder include recurrent and persistent thoughts, repetitive, often ritualistic behaviors, and the presence of marked anxiety surrounding these thoughts and actions. Although most people experience some obsessions and compulsions, these behaviors are considered abnormal only when they cannot be controlled and when they significantly reduce the quality of a person's life. Laura and Marna are longtime friends who have both suffered from obsessive-compulsive disorder since adolescence. Although both women live relatively normal lives, their disorder interferes in significant ways. For example, simple actions such as filing an important paper can set off a spiral of compulsive behaviors. These behaviors can become highly ritualized and can occupy an entire day.
When I was in school, I would walk down the halls and I would be looking at other people and I thought, they don't have this in their brain. They're not, I mean, it was just, they weren't obsessing. I was acutely aware.
Me too.
That I was
different or whatever.
Yeah, different and agonizing, and I wanted to be like them for a minute, to have some relief.
I just thought I was completely weird. In high school, I would spend 45 minutes putting on mascara, and like each little lash. Why am I doing this? I would say to myself. This is weird. None of my other friends take this long to put on mascara. I have two major OCD things. And the major one would be like checking either paperwork, clothing tags, or zippers. The other one that I hate the most, that really is, brings shame, inside of me or whatever, is the picking of the scabs, the obsessively picking and repicking scabs. And that's the most painful for me. On a bad day with my OCD, I wouldn't be able to figure out what to wear. Would be running around, and then I'd be sweating a lot because I'd be getting nervous because I'm running late. And then I wouldn't be able to find the particular paperwork that I needed to take to an important meeting that day. Because what I'll do is I'll put it away, and then the urge, and you can feel it. It's almost like a surge that you have to. We've actually never talked about this particular aspect, but it's like a surge, and I gotta check, I gotta see, is that other insurance paper behind there, and what's behind that, and what's behind that, and what's in the other little, how dividers in a portable file kind of thing. And so I just end up checking all of it. And in my worst days several years back, I would check, I have to cut the tags off my clothes, because I'll check, made in Korea, and it's a large, and I know brand names for zippers, because did I ever tell you about the zipper one?
That you know all the tags.
Yalon, Y-A-L-O-N, the Yalon company. So things like that. Okay, but what I would do is, I'd have to feel, right now I'm wanting to feel the ledge. I'd have to feel it and go, okay, there's a ledge. Okay, where's the ledge? There's a ledge. Okay. And this is all in my mind kind of thing. And the one that's in my pillow, I would lift it up and down and up and down and up and down.
People with obsessive-compulsive disorder often become obsessed by unpleasant or inappropriate thoughts. As you will see in this segment, for example, they might think about harming someone they love, and when they are unable to purge this idea from their mind, they become highly distressed. Furthermore, they might feel driven to perform a ritualistic act, such as hand-washing or counting, in order to avert some perceived threat. As is typical of people with OCD, both Laura and Marna are keenly aware that their obsessions are irrational and counterproductive. Still, they have great difficulty controlling their obsessive thoughts and behaviors.
On a bad day, On one of my worst days, I was up all night, so 7 or 8 hours, trying to figure out what to wear. And I was aware that this was happening, and it was frustrating. It was sad, and I didn't know how I was going to get out of that. But I had to figure it out. But that's 7 or 8 hours, and then I was exhausted, and then I had to go to school. So, and I knew that it was going to affect my whole next day. But what do you do? I mean, I just couldn't figure it out. So that's 7 or 8 hours ruminating on that, and you had
maybe it wasn't quite 7 to 8 hours, but it was so
4 hour.
I think one night it was about 10 or so, and I just felt compelled to look at all the tags on my shirts, and I'm sitting there looking, and I kept saying to myself, "Go to bed, Laura, go to bed." And instead I just would check the tags, and I finally, maybe about like 2:30 or so like 4.5, 5 hours later, I just was like, oh, must go to bed. And finally made it, but I was so mad at myself, and it's embarrassing, and I think, normal people don't do this,
I try not to go grocery shopping anymore. I avoid it at all costs. Okay, so I'm going to the produce aisle, and I'm getting some celery, and which bunch do you take? And if there are people around, then it creates more anxiety. So I'm carefully, I'm looking at each bunch, and I know, okay, that one's not going to do it, and so then I have to, I might pick it up. Okay, I might find a bunch that I like, pick it up, put it in the grocery cart, and walk down, and I know that's not the one that I want. So I'll just kind of strategically, okay, as soon as that customer goes down to the next aisle, I'll go back and get that other bunch that I thought, yeah, that's the better bunch. Sometimes I just have this compelling urge to step on the gas and just go. And then if a pedestrian's crossing the street, and I will have this compelling urge to run them over. And I've never done that, and I learned that if you get into a situation like that, you can just put the car in neutral, and that will help. And I have done that at times, because I just don't want to deal with the urge or the fear of actually running them over. I've been walking down the street with a friend and felt the urge to just push him into traffic, and so I thought, let's just go over on the other block, walk down the other street. So, and I don't think that I would ever do it, but I have the thought nevertheless, and it's disturbing.
During the 1990s, researchers made great strides in developing treatments for people with OCD. Today, a combination of behavior therapy and medications can reduce obsessive-compulsive symptoms in nearly 60% of those who suffer from this condition. In the final segment, Laura and Morna discuss some of the techniques they have learned in therapy, which help them cope with their OCD. They also discuss their hope for a future when they can be free from both obsessions and compulsions.
I get relief by stitching, doing cross stitch, and it's amazing, the transformation. I just pick up the needle, and it's as if my brain is being bathed with relief. It's driven by the need to want it to look good, but it's very different. It's not like straightening dishes or something. This has a whole nother. I get calm and peaceful.
Usually, if I wait, after about 15-20 minutes, especially like half hour, the urge is either gone or it's much less. So, literally, in the last couple weeks, I hope and pray that I'm finally conquering this after like 8 years. Because I didn't start out doing that.
She has told me at least 4 times that she's conquering this. over the past 8 years. This is it. I've stopped the picking.
But this is really it.
I
It's
know.
like an addiction. It's like, but isn't it similar to like alcohol addiction?
Absolutely.
People, I'm stopping drinking. I'm not going to have another drink, and the next day they go out and have a beer. So, but really, this is it.
Okay, we'll see.
All right.
Anyway, there is, we're in a good mood today, but there are aspects to this that are so sad and so depressing. It doesn't stop on a bad day. You go from one thing to the next, and while you're doing the first thing, I'm aware that I'm going to have to deal with this next thing as soon as I can resolve this. So, because the dealing with life, it's one thing after another.